Hey guys, I just finished the YouTube live video that I'm doing every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern with readings from authors from the historical romance virtual reading series. We are all authors who do the Romancing the Gold Coast Conference this October in New York. And, it's one of those days when technical stuff happened. And so we didn't get to Kate Bateman on our YouTube live series. So Kate and I thought, well, let's bring it to Instagram. Let's not be, channel agnostic, or let's be channel agnostic. So I'm very excited to welcome Kate Bateman to the virtual reading series on Instagram. She's going to come join us and read an excerpt from her work. So let me just figure out how I invite her to join me. Let's see. Plus. Nope. Add a person. No. Let's see. Huh. Kate, you might have to request to join me. I'm not sure. Ah, there we go. Did that work?
Hello!
Hi!
Hi, I am so sorry. It's completely my fault. For some reason in my brain, I thought I was 7:40, like Central, and not 6:40. I've just reread the email. I've been telling everyone to show up at 7:40. I'm so sorry.
No problem. It's 2021. We all know how these things happen. And I know you are British in Central Time, so you probably are doing all sorts of conversions all the time. And, we don't need to do math. We're writers.
My brain is clearly not good tonight. I'm so sorry, everybody. But I'm here. I put makeup on and brush my hair, so it seems really not
Exactly. We got to use it.
like, this is good foundation. We're not ruining this. I'm ruining it straight on. Oh, okay. Well, hello and welcome. Thanks, everybody. Who have we got? Lots of people here.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, everyone, for hopping on.
Hello. I can see Kimberly down the bottom. Hi, Kimberly. I'm sorry. I'm ruining everything already.
Oh, you haven't ruined anything. We're bringing it to a new population, so it's a good thing.
This is a good thing. Yeah, but I've still not even remotely got in touch with TikTok. So this is the coolest I get is Instagram right now. So yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, I missed everyone else then. Heather, Nicole.
Yes.
Catherine.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. What an idiot. I was already as well. I was only sitting in my garden, just hanging out. Oh well. Well, look,
No problem.
I was going to read from The Princess and the Rogue, which is my last release. It was about Christmas time, and it was the third in my Bow Street Bachelors series. And the clue is in the title. The heroine is a Russian princess, undercover, hiding out undercover. She faked her own death, as you do, and is hiding out in London. And the hero, the rogue of the title, is my Bow Street runner, who is also an earl, obviously, because, aristocrat. So that's it. And he doesn't know who she is. And they meet in a brothel. She is teaching she lives next door to the brothel because she's hiding out in Covent Garden, and her neighbours, she's friends with the brothel owner, and she wants to teach the girls to read and write because she thinks prostitution is a short-lived career, quite frankly. So she wants to give them a bit of a better future. So they meet in a brothel. So that was the scene I was going to read. Do you want me to do the full 10 minutes? That's probably quite long.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
I hate reading aloud as well. This is just, apart from stories to my children at bedtime, this is hell for me. Okay, what we'll do, because I know that the Gold Coast readers like a bit of steam, so maybe I'll do the first meet where they meet in the brothel. Okay, so here we go. I might have to take I'm blind as a bat up close. All right, we will have the first meet. Hang on. All right, so here she goes. You'll have to use the front parlour this evening. Charlotte's distinctive, throaty voice was entirely unfeigned. I'm having this study repapered. I'll tell Winslow to direct any visitors to the Red Salon. You shouldn't be disturbed. Anya nodded and made her way to the front of the house to find her charges. She stepped into the room in time to hear Tess say, Well, that's the right load of old bollocks, Jen. It is more polite to say, I'm afraid I disagree with your assessment, Jenny, Anya said dryly. Tess's sweet, freckled face turned pink in embarrassment, and the two girls dropped into hasty curtsies, talking all the while. Oh, Miss Emma, I'm so sorry. I had no idea he was there. It's quite all right, Tess. I've heard far worse, but still, do consider modifying your language. As a milliner's assistant, you'll need to be polite to the customers. Anna had to hide a smile at the irony of her chiding anyone on their vocabulary. Elizabeth still frowned at her in private for profanities unbecoming a princess. Her English had certainly expanded to include an impressive number of swear words during their months in Covent Garden. Jenny went over to the desk in one corner and Anya gestured to Tess to open the book of fairy tales from which she'd been learning to read. Tess, you read, and Jenny, you write down what she says. Both girls nodded obediently. Little Red Riding Hood, Tess said slowly, her finger following the words as she went along. Anya sent her an encouraging smile. Excellent, Tess, keep going. Once upon a time, the door opened. Anya glanced up, expecting to see Charlotte with a tea tray, but instead a man she'd never seen before appeared in the doorway, and for one ridiculous moment she thought Tess had summoned the wolf from the storybook. He was tall and lean, with a lithe vitality that made the very air vibrate. His skin was tanned, his hair a black, wind-blown mass around his face. His dark eyes swept the room and settled on Anya, and for the first time in her entire life she lost her train of thought on account of the man. He stilled, his hand resting on the doorknob, and his mouth curved into a smile that made her flash hot and cold at once. Good evening, ladies. I'm sorry to interrupt. I was looking for Mrs. Hay. Something odd fluttered in Anya's stomach. His voice was like sandpaper and velvet. Tess and Jenny jumped to their feet, rushed forward, and stopped a few inches away from him, both of them talking at once. Mrs. A's in the back parlour, my lord, Jenny said breathlessly. Tess sent him a shamelessly provocative glance. It's a pleasure to see you here, my lord. Is there something I can help you with? Jenny batted her eyelashes. Or me? But the man's gaze was still fixed on Anya. Heat rose in her cheeks at his boldly appraising scrutiny. She pressed her lips into a disapproving line. His features had a Mediterranean look, all dark sophistication, a corsair masquerading as a gentleman. She'd never seen anyone so uncompromisingly handsome. What was a man like this doing in a brothel? Surely he could get any woman he wanted with the crook of his finger. A nervous sensation coiled in her belly. She thought of him doing things, the kind of things a man did with a woman in a brothel, made her feel quite hot and bothered. Still, she certainly wasn't going to be the one who provided whatever service he'd come here for, no matter how ridiculously good-looking he was. She cleared her throat, intending to excuse herself, but the gentleman spoke first, sending a charming smile that somehow conveyed sincere regret to the two women in front of him. Would you two ladies mind going to fetch her for me? Tess and Jenny both sighed in disappointment at the subtle dismissal. Tess shot a wide-eyed glance over her shoulder at Anya. We'll all go, she said, clearly trying to save Anya from being left alone with the visitor. The gentleman shook his head. That won't be necessary. He stepped aside and held the door wide for Tess and Jenny to leave. With no other option, they scurried out, and Anya's heart thumped in her chest as the man closed the door behind them with a click. Half the room separated them, but a fizzle of something, not quite fear, but more like awareness, trickled under her skin. Anya held her ground as he prowled towards her. His gaze travelled down her body and back up in a slow, simmering appraisal, lingering for a long moment on her lips, and he let out a short, almost surprised laugh of disbelief. Well, I must admit I was sceptical when I heard men swear that Mrs. Hay offered the best girls in London, but now I see it was nothing short of the truth. He took another step closer, and Anya caught a hint of a subtle masculine scent that made her stomach do another little flip. His dark eyes met hers. I'm not a man who wavers over a decision, and considering where we are, I know you don't need pretty words or meaningless platitudes. Name your price. So that's the end of chapter 5. That's how they meet. In a brothel, he propositions her. I mean, do you want me to read a bit more? How are we doing for time? How long was that?
I don't actually know. My phone's not showing me my clock.
Time. I've got 7:43. I don't know. Shall I read a tiny bit more? Do you want their first kiss? I tell you what, I'll do one more. I'll do 2 more pages. How about that?
Okay.
Chapter 6. Annie was momentarily rendered speechless. She drew herself up, noting that this man was a good head and shoulders taller than herself. Her eyes were level with the diamond pin that sparkled in the folds of his cravat. I'm afraid you're mistaken, sir. There's no amount of money that would induce me to entertain you. A flash of something that could have been annoyance or merely amusement flared in his eyes. Oh, come now, there's no need for games. Just tell me how much. I'll pay Mrs. Hay and we'll both go upstairs. Annie could scarcely believe her ears. The part of her that wasn't rooted to the spot with amazement and irritation was, paradoxically, rather flattered that he seemed so determined to engage her services. A wicked, impish impulse compelled her to say, "And what if I said a night with me would cost you £500? Then I would pay it." She jerked her shocked gaze to his and realised he was entirely serious. Who was this man? Jenny had called him my lord, but he must be both as rich as Croesus and out of his senses to squander such an exorbitant sum on one night with a stranger. This close, she could see the sensual fullness of his lips, the faint hint of dark stubble on his jaw. Her pulse pounded in her throat. The corner of his mouth quirked up as he leaned closer as if to impart some choice piece of gossip. "I feel compelled to point out that I don't actually require your company for the whole night." His gaze flicked over her features like a caress. "A couple of rather intense hours should accomplish everything I have in mind." Oh, that's my dog. Come on, Henry. Excuse me. Oi. Sorry, he's probably at the front door. Hang on, let's let the dog out. You bad.
He's excited by the scene.
He's like, yes, this is exactly when you're reading a sexy scene and your children walk in. This is exactly how it is, or your dog barks. Okay. His gaze flicked over her features. "A couple of rather intense hours should accomplish everything I have in mind." Anya's corset seemed inordinately tight. Even the most forward of rakes in the Russian court hadn't been so direct. "I'm sure we'll find ourselves compatible," he murmured, "but perhaps we should check." He stepped closer. It was a matter of pride that she didn't step back. Soon, barely an inch separated them, and the air seemed to thicken, to hum. His dark gaze held hers in challenge, and as he lifted his hand and stroked his fingers lightly across her cheek. He'd removed his gloves. Hot and cold prickled where he touched like snow crystals landing on her skin. He spread his fingers and slid them along her jaw, his thumb tilting her chin a little higher, and Anya had no doubt that she was being seduced by an expert. Her breath was coming in shallow pants, and she didn't have an ounce of willpower to resist. Not that she wanted to. Excitement made her stomach swoop as his warm breath sloughed across her cheek. This was too good an opportunity to miss. The man was clearly a rogue, but why deny herself the adventure of allowing him to kiss her? She was both curious and intrigued. His lips touched hers, neither tentative nor impatient, just the perfect weight, and Anya closed her eyes. He kissed her again, a little firmer this time, and she parted her lips instinctively. His low murmur of approval sent a shiver down her spine. When he slid his tongue against her lips, her knees almost gave out. Men had tried to kiss her this way before, but she'd always pulled back, repelled. But this was glorious. He wasn't conscious of rank, a fatal friend. He was simply a man showing a woman his desire. His teeth caught the fullness of her lower lip in a playful tug, and this delicious sensation sent jolts of heat spearing through her body. Anya rose up on tiptoe, caught the lapels of his jacket, and pulled him down, returning the swell of his tongue with artless enthusiasm. He tasted like brandy, like sin. She wanted to keep on doing this forever. The click of the door barely registered in her mind, but his reflexes were clearly better than hers. He dropped his hand and stepped away with a cool rush of air, and by the time Charlotte stepped into the room like a lilac-clad angel, a perfectly acceptable distance separated them. He turned with an ease that belied the throbbing tension in the room. Anya took a flustered step back and sucked in a steadying breath. Good God, what was she doing? "Lord Mowbray!" Charlotte's smile was radiant as she held out her hand in greeting. He bowed low over it. "Welcome. We've not had the honour of your company here before, but I'm confident we'll be able to cater to your every need. I see you've met my good friend, Miss Brown." The man turned back to Anya, and his lips twitched in amusement. "We hadn't got as far as introductions." "Oh, well, in that case, Miss Anna Brown, the Earl of Mowbray." He bowed, and Anna made a stiff curtsy, silently laughing at observing the formalities when he'd been kissing her witless moments before. "Sebastian," he said. "I feel sure you should call me Sebastian." "My lord," she said, just to annoy him, and felt a jolt of dark pleasure at the irritated twitch of his brows. As a member of the aristocracy, presumably a wealthy one, he doubtless had everyone he met obeying his commands. A little insubordination would do him the world of good. "My girls are most anxious to see you," Charlotte said. "I don't need to see any of your other girls. I've made my choice. I would like to engage the services of Miss Brown." There we go. Well, it goes on, but there we go.
I love it. There's so much conflict inherent there.
Woo-hoo. It's not the best place. I mean, obviously, he's in a brothel expecting to, have a good night. And she is not.
Yeah. And what's the name of that book, The Princess and the Rogue?
This is The Princess and the Rogue.
And it's available now?
It is. It came out in just after Christmas. So it's been out a few months. but it's the last of my Bow Street Bachelor series. But you don't have to have read the first two. I mean, there are some Easter eggs and like appearances from the other two couples in the book. Why they co-own a gaming club called the Tricorn Club, but they also own Bow Street Runners on the side because, you know, they have like 8 jobs in their agency, and they, you know, none of them need to work. They just do it for fun. So yeah, so I suppose I was going to do a giveaway. I mean, I guess I can still do a signed copy of Princess and the Rogue to anybody. Can we put comments on this, or how does Instagram Live work? Can we choose a random commenter if we leave it open for an hour or so? Do we know?
My audio has cut out. I can see you, but I can't hear you anymore. I don't know if it's just my phone that is crapping out or what.
Is it me? I can hear you. Can anyone hear me? Can you all hear me?
I can't hear you, but maybe we can wrap up. You can tell us, assuming that everyone else can hear you. Would you love to tell us what you're looking forward to at Romancing the Gold Coast?
Oh my goodness. Dressing up, obviously, because I have a lot. My other life, I used to be an antiques appraiser and fine art appraiser, and I used to run an auction house. So I have lots and lots of actual genuine Victorian and Regency outfits that I can wear, which I've worn to other events, but obviously this is my first year at Romancing the Gold Coast. And I'm so excited. I really can't wait. It sounds such an amazing thing to do. And I haven't been out of the house for so long. It's going to be so nice to actually meet real people again. So yeah, the dressing up and meeting the readers. It amazes me still that something that I wrote gives pleasure to somebody else. I mean, I really enjoy writing it, but it amazes me that people enjoy reading them, but people still do. So I'm still really, really pleased. Spicy Pillow, I can hear. Thank you for letting us hear that. I'm assuming Catherine can't hear me. No?
I still can't hear you, but I think you did a great job talking about the government. Tonight has been a night of technical experiences. I'm so grateful that you were able to hop onto Instagram Live. I'm going to take this video, hopefully, and put it onto YouTube in case anyone was looking for it on YouTube. Perfect. We do this once a week for 3 more Wednesdays. Check out the link in my bio to register for the event and get the links to the future readings, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much, Kate. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in October, and I hope some of the readers who heard from you tonight get to meet us too.
Thank you. Yeah, 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 6 p.m. Central. So let's get that right. I'm so sorry, everyone. Thanks for watching.